subjected to cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment and torture at Guantánamo Bay in Cuba. We might remember that it was one of the changes that people voted for. That President Obama said he would close Guantánamo within a year. These folks are on the 6th day of a liquid-only fast, protesting against the continued incarceration at Guantánamo Bay of 171 Muslim men. I will tell you that members of this group, Witness Against Torture, were here on the day of President Obama's inauguration. And we were overjoyed to hear on the 2nd day of his administration that he came out and said that by an executive order, Guantánamo would be closed within a year, that CIA black sites would be closed within a year. That was the change that we believed in. The fact is that now, after 3 years, Guantánamo is not closed. 171 Muslim men remain in prison at Guantánamo. According to the Obama administration itself, after extensive research, a year's investigation, a majority of the prisoners at Guantánamo are cleared for release. And yet none of them are going anywhere. Obama has maintained the authorities, the sort of conceits of the Bush administration, that he could indefinitely detain prisoners. At this point, it is our position that Guantánamo has become a metastasizing cancer on our body politic. I would call your attention to the National Defense Authorization Act, which has actually given, Congress has actually given the President of the United States the authority to detain even American citizens picked up here in the United States without charge or trial indefinitely. It is an enormous constitutional violation. It is the assumption of tyrannical authority on the part of both the Obama administration and the U.S. Congress. So we are here once again to call for an end to Guantánamo in its entirety. This coming Wednesday, Amnesty International and the Center for Constitutional Rights are coming to Lafayette Park for a historic protest against the continued existence of Guantánamo. If you are going to incarcerate anyone, we need to incarcerate people only with due process of law. People need to be able to see the evidence against them, and people need to be able to rebut that evidence. We have never allowed this for those prisoners at Guantánamo. Once you begin to torture people, once you begin to treat prisoners cruelly, you are infinitely closer to torturing your own people, to take political dissidents and put them in jails and ill-treat them also. That seems to be the course the United States is on with the passage of the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012. There are many of the prisoners at Guantánamo have very dramatic stories that should be known, because these men are not our enemies. I want to plead for you over the case of Shaker Aamer, who is a British resident who is on death's door as we speak. At this point, given congressional legislation, the only way out of Guantánamo is in a body bag. And the next body bag to come out of Guantánamo may be that of Shaker Aamer's. Shaker Aamer was a leader among the prisoners at Guantánamo. In 2005, there was a large hunger strike at Guantánamo, and Shaker Aamer led that strike. He also negotiated an end to the strike with the authorities at the prison at Guantánamo. In a matter of months, the United States began to renege on the concessions it had made to the prisoners, and Shaker Aamer began a long-term hunger strike. In 2006, we have every reason to believe that in 2006, Shaker Aamer survived a torture session in which he and 3 other prisoners were severely tortured. The 3 other prisoners were, in fact, tortured to death. I shouldn't say in fact, those are the allegations, and they need to be looked into. At the time when that story came out, the 3 prisoners had died at Guantánamo. We were told that they were simultaneous suicides. The fact is that 4 military whistleblowers a couple of years later came out and revealed that it is far more likely that they were tortured to death. The only reason to retain Shaker Aamer in Guantánamo is because Shaker Aamer was the fourth prisoner who was tortured, and he survived. And he is the one who knows the truth and would blow the military cover-up of the murder of 3 men at Guantanamo Bay. So we ask for your prayers and for your concern. We ask you to join us here this coming Wednesday, here at Lafayette Park, as Amnesty International, the Center for Constitutional Rights, the National Religious Campaign Against Torture, are holding a historic demonstration against Guantanamo right here in Lafayette Park, and then creating a line from here to the Capitol building, calling for the closure of Guantanamo and everything that it stands for, including the prosecution of those officials in the Bush administration who actually ordered torture and those who were the architect of that policy.